Good afternoon, ladies. Hello, this is Carla Metzdorf. I am admin to the group Overcoming Anxiety for Stressed Out Moms Who's Had Enough. And I'm also, a certified health and life coach who helps moms to overcome anxiety. As you come on, please say hi. I'm just going to log into the group on my computer. So on today's live, okay, I do see myself. Awesome. I had trouble getting on, so I just want to make sure that everything is okay. All right. It looks like we're on. It looks like we're good. Awesome. So on today's live, what I want to discuss is how do you get results quicker to overcome anxiety? So, in other words, I'm not talking about quick fixes here, because I'm not about quick fixes, all right? I'm not, when I say quicker, I don't mean to do a quick fix. What I'm talking about is how do you get longer lasting results, okay? How do you go about overcoming anxiety and getting those longer lasting results? So as you come on, say hi, ladies. So I just want to go through with you what I feel is going to really help you get results quicker. Okay. Now, yeah, I mean, I know you know about breathing and self-soothing, things to self-soothe and stuff like that. But those are like to help you with your anxiety, like in the moment, okay? So breathing is great and it'll help you calm down in the moment. But as I said, I'm talking about long-term results. Okay, I want you to, wobbling, I'm trying to make this, okay. I'm trying to help you get results that are gonna last a lifetime, all right? Not just in the moment. So how do you get there? So basically, what's necessary is to create a mindset, okay? A mindset that's going to help you get those results. So the first thing is always awareness. It's very important to have awareness, because without awareness, how do you know what needs to be fixed? How do you know what needs to be worked on? So having an understanding of the anxiety cycle, knowing what anxiety is and why you have it, is really important to overcome it, all right? But to get there, all right, we have to start making decisions. And that decision is to make the decision to overcome anxiety. And I know that may sound confusing to you, because a lot of you, I know, have anxiety and you're thinking, I wanted to overcome anxiety years ago and I'm trying every day and I still have it. But when I say make the decision, okay, there is a difference between feeling anxiety, okay, having anxiety, feeling it, trying things out, and then when it doesn't go your way, you give up easily, okay? When I say make the decision, okay, you tell yourself, no matter what happens, no matter how hard it gets, no matter what, I'm going to make sure that this happens. I'm going to learn everything I need to know to overcome and get over this. Enough is enough. I felt this too long and it's time. Okay, so you make the decision. I mean, I'm already in pain. I'm already going through hard times. So to make yourself a little bit more uncomfortable so that eventually down the road you could be more comfortable, all right? That's basically the decision you have to make, is to dig those heels in, all right? Now, in order to make that decision, another thing has to happen. So here we are. What we're doing is we're setting yourself up for success. Because as I said in the beginning, I'm all about long-term results. And I'm giving to you right now what's going to get you those long-term results. First, you got to make that decision to do anything and everything. But you have to love yourself, okay? Why? Because people who love themselves take better care of themselves. They see the importance of taking care of themselves. When you love yourself, okay, and I don't mean this in a vain way, that type of love. No, this is a love of, a love and a respect for yourself, that you put yourself as an important person. Now, as a mom, it's very hard sometimes to love yourself and to make yourself number one, a priority of importance, because we always put that on our family, our children, our spouses, and we always give excuses such as, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I'm a busy mom, when do I have time to work on this? And I always say, ladies, if you don't make the time for your wellness, down the line, you're gonna make time, you're gonna be forced to make time for your illness. Now, that is not my saying. I forgot the name of the woman. She was a teacher who didn't take care of herself. She got ill, and she had to make time to overcome this illness. She was forced to. So, I mean, you can give all the excuses in the world of why you can't overcome anxiety. But if something is not done about it, okay, I mean, anxiety in and of itself will not hurt you. But anxiety is extra stress on the body. Stress on the body can hurt you over time. So love yourself enough that you prioritize your health, your well-being. I know you're a busy mom. I get it. I understand. You've got a lot on your plate between, let's say, I don't know, your marriage and your children, taking care of the home. Maybe you work, maybe you don't work, but you've got a lot going on, okay? And I understand everyone's got the same 24 hours in a day. How you spend that 24 hours is up to you. But love yourself enough to make yourself a priority. Is this making sense, ladies? And I know right now some of you are going, yeah, but it's hard. I understand that. But it's a necessity. It is a necessity. And the sooner you make the decision to overcome this and love yourself enough and give yourself the grace to do what needs to get done. In other words, you're a human being, okay? Stop being so hard on yourself. Give yourself respect. You're going to make mistakes. You're a human being. We all make mistakes as long as you learn from them, all right? So you got to give yourself love and grace in order to make this happen. Because if you don't, you're going to start making excuses and put everything before you. And down the road, unfortunately, you may pay more of a price. Now, with anxiety also, you may lack motivation. You're tired. I understand that. Anxiety can zap all your energy. So the motivation, you want to do it, but you're just not motivated. Unfortunately, to gain motivation, it's all in the doing. You can't wait until you feel motivated. To be motivated, you got to start doing it. That's just the way it goes. The more you do, the more action you take, then you'll go, oh, okay, yeah, this is feeling right. Yeah, and your energy changes. I didn't feel very motivated at all. I spent a lot of time in bed. Then I had to force myself out of that bed. I literally jumped out of bed. I went 1, 2, and I jumped out of bed. And it was hard. It was hard, but I just kept going. And then the next day, it was like, okay, I have no excuse. I did it yesterday. I can do it again today. I jumped out of bed again, and I did a little bit more. And I kept going, and I kept going. So you just need to start. That's why making the decision is very important. You have to make a decision to start, and no matter how hard it gets, you're going to keep going. And once you make that decision, you love yourself enough and you give yourself that grace, you're going to feel more motivated. But you got to take that action first. Just do something. And be patient with yourself. Because what happens is we want results right away. Of course we do. Because we're in pain. We don't want this any second longer than necessary. But the thing is that impatience you have, I tried this and it didn't work, I'm going to just go on to the next thing. Well, I tried that didn't work, and I'm just going to go on to the next thing. And I'm going to try this and that didn't work, and I'm going to go on to the next thing. Maybe doing too many things, being impatient with what you're doing, that can sabotage what you're doing. Any results, a little bit at a time, day by day, moment by moment. What can I do in this moment? What can I do in this moment? It's all you got. What little thing can I do that can just put me a little bit further? And I'll perfect it tomorrow. But the more impatient you are about it, it's just going to set you back. Because you're going to start going, you're going to start talking to yourself very negatively. You're not going to love on yourself. You're going to start, it doesn't work, or, making up those excuses, and I don't have what it takes. And so that's why all of this needs to happen together, okay? When you start, having the awareness of what anxiety is and why you have it, making the decision that I'm done with this, I've had enough, and I'm gonna dig my heels in, I'm gonna do what it takes. I love myself enough to do it. Yeah, I'm busy, but you know what? I gotta be here for my children. I gotta be here for my spouse. I have to be here for fill in the blank. Or I just want to do this for myself. I can't live life this way. It's not going to get better if you don't take that time. Only you can do this. No one can do it for you. And unfortunately, to be motivated to do it, you need to take some kind of action first. Motivation comes after the action is taken. Have patience with yourself. Set goals. Take it day by day. But what needs to happen is that you stay consistent. So you need to be diligent in what you do. You need to be a doer. It's not enough to do something on Tuesday and go, okay, I did something. I'll do something else. I have time next week. I'll continue this next week, and then next week, and then maybe a month from now. Or you need to be consistent every single day, doing something different. Every day. Habits change with consistency and being diligent in what you do. That's why when I work with someone, I'm not all over the place with when I get together with you, because you can't have an appointment 1 week and then say, come back 2-3 weeks or a month from now and let's talk again. And let's, you need guidance. You need accountability. Otherwise, you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. So if you do need help, get that support. Without support, you might fall away and not be consistent in what you do. If you need this support and accountability, like think about going to the gym, right? You think, oh yeah, I want to go to the gym, I want to work out, I want to lose weight. And then you go to the gym and then like the next week you're like, oh, well the first week was okay, but you know what? I'm just not motivated to go today. But what if you had an accountability partner, right? What if you had someone there to support you and guide you along the way? That's why it's a necessity to find a group of people or to find somebody who can help you through this if you're finding it difficult to do it yourself. Because if you don't have the proper mindset, unfortunately, you're going to start sabotaging your efforts to overcome anxiety. You're going to start making up excuses. You start to, like, sometimes what happens is we have these beliefs that we hold, okay? Beliefs about ourselves, about others, about the world. And these beliefs are going to keep us like inside this bubble, inside that anxiety cycle. And then no matter what we do, we can't seem to break free because the things that we're holding in our mind, we believe so heavily into these things that we just don't know how to break away. So we need to change some of the beliefs. So when I formed my newest program, Rise Above Anxiety, I made it in different modules. And the first module is all about setting you up for success, doing these things that I'm discussing with you right now, because they're so important. But it's not just a science of this, ladies. You know, the one thing that I know, besides everything that I just said, you know, I had to make the decision to dig my heels in and to really love myself so that I take that action and I feel the motivation when I take the action and I keep going, being patient with myself. And that's where, you know, giving yourself grace, being compassionate with yourself, being diligent and consistent, right? All those things need to be done. But the other thing about this also is to get longer lasting results quickly, okay? Where are you putting your focus? See, what we do is we tend to put our focus on our problems or the issues, the thoughts that we're thinking, the symptoms that we're feeling, because they scare us, okay? We feel these symptoms and we go, when are they going to go away? When are they going to go away? Because they're so uncomfortable, or maybe you're in pain, or you're getting these thoughts that, you know, how do I get these thoughts out of my head? But focusing on them just keeps them alive. They thrive on that. So focusing on the solution, putting your focus on something else, on truth. That is what is helping me in any, well, the biggest stress in my life. I mean, I'm not dealing with anxiety anymore, but I've had a lot of stress the past couple of years dealing with the death of my parents. And what's been really helping me is where I put my focus. If I put my focus on my situation, I'm going to just feel down. But if I put my focus, okay, on the truth of the matter, I understand that death is a part of life, and I'm able to cope and deal with it better. So fix your mind on truth. Fix your mind on above, on a greater power. Fix your mind on God, on Jesus. John 8:32 says, if you know the truth will set you free. Because we lie to ourselves. We get these thoughts in our head and we believe everything that goes in our heads. But a lot of the things that we think, they're not even true. They're just fear talking to us. And what do we know about the spirit of fear? It's a liar. But when you can focus on truth, what is God's truth? He didn't give us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love, power. We have God's power within us. We have self-discipline. We do have control, although with anxiety, you feel pretty out of control a lot, don't you? But we do have control. And when we have panic attacks, we feel particularly out of control. We feel like we're going crazy. But God says we have a sound mind. We do. We have a sound mind. So, know what God's truth says for you. And when the devil, when the evil one, when lies come into your mind, know the truth. Tell yourself the truth. Counteract that, and it will set you free. Hey, ladies. How is everybody? I'm just like going on and on, but is all this making sense? Does anybody need any clarity with anything? Any questions? I'm just going to refresh myself in the group here. Hello, hello, hi. Everyone's saying hi, and I'm grateful for that, but let me know if this is making sense. Give me a 1, say yes, or if you have a question, put it in there. Yes, makes sense. Great. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome, Amanda. Okay. So, and the other thing that I want to talk about is also Philippians 4. And Tracy, you just tuned in. Great. So you watched the replay. No big deal. But I'm talking about how do you get long-term results quicker. So I'm not talking about the short-term stuff here. I mean, we're not talking about breathing and meditation and, those are things that you may do on the spot when you're feeling anxious. But if you don't have these other things in place, you may not get the results that you're looking for. So what I was saying is to fix your mind on truth, on things from above, on Jesus, okay? So we went with John 8:32 that says, you know the truth and the truth will set you free. But my favorite thing in the Bible, okay, ladies, this is what has helped me through a lot, and that's understanding Philippians 4:1-8, okay? Now, and I don't have it written down anywhere, but, and unfortunately I don't have it totally memorized, but basically what it does is it says that you should stay steadfast in your faith, okay? You should rejoice always in the Lord. Not just when things are good, when you're feeling happy and safe and peaceful, but always. Because if you have faith, if you're trusting God, okay, you can rejoice, because even when things are not so good, when you go through those trials and tribulations, okay, you know who's with you. You know who's near. It says that God is near. Rejoice in the Lord, for he is near. We are to pray and trust in everything. Taking our care to God, all right? So we are to not be anxious, not be worried, but to go to God with everything. Giving thanks. Because when you give thanks, when you pray and give thanks, you know God's working for you. It doesn't say to beg God. It's saying go to Him, because He's not going. God doesn't force anything. Okay? He sees your troubles. He sees them. But if you haven't been praying about it, He's thinking, well, maybe she thinks she could do it on her own, and He's not going to force Himself on you. And maybe you're saying you are praying, but if you're praying and worrying, okay, it's kind of going counterproductive. It's because you're asking, but are you trusting that He can supply you with what you're asking for? If you're saying, please take this anxiety from me, please help me to sleep again, please help my stomach to feel better, please take these headaches from me, please, 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 over and over, but you're so worried about it, if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, you're not trusting, all right, I gave it to God, He's going to do it in His own timing, I know He will. You kind of stay stuck. I know in the beginning I did that. I prayed and prayed and prayed, but I was worrying and I was still very anxious and I wasn't getting it, And then now when I pray, I go, okay, I prayed about to God, He heard it. And if I really believe He heard it and He's taking care of it, there's a part of me that could go, and I relax. I actually relax because I do believe He heard me. I do believe somewhere, sometime. Can you see my comment? Yes, you say you read this every morning, Shanika. Yes, that's great. That's awesome. That's awesome that you read this every morning. Philippians you're talking about. Philippians 4. That's awesome because it's a very important piece of the Bible that I think tells you exactly how to deal with anxiety. If there's any part of the Bible, that tells you. Okay? So, because when we can do that, when we can pray and give thanksgiving, God, please take this anxiety from me, and I thank you for your wondrous works. I thank you that you're always working on me. Thank you, Jesus. And then if I worry about it, is He going to do it? Or am I going to wake up anxious tomorrow? Or, I think God wants you to learn your lesson. So if you wake up still anxious tomorrow, it's because you haven't learned yet what you need to learn about anxiety. Ask God what you need to do. What do I need to do? Like, I want to overcome anxiety, and thank you that you're going to help me. Show me what is mine to do. What do I need to do? Because then when you do this, ladies, when you can do this, that peace that surpasses all understanding is going to guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Because then it goes on to say, remember when I said before, the focus, right? It's where you put your focus. We're focused on our problems. We're too focused on these feelings and these thoughts. And the fact that we're not sleeping. The fact that our stomach is all upset and that we have these headaches. So focused on how we feel. But what does God say? We need to focus not on the problems, but what's on true and honorable, just, pure. what is lovely and of good report, virtuous and of praise. We need to focus on heaven above and his truth. I read a book once that said, for every problem there is that can happen in your life, there's a solution in the Bible. So anxiety, yeah, that's in the Bible. Worrying, that's in the Bible. Sickness, that's in the Bible. Even insomnia, that's in the Bible. Depression, that's in the Bible. So, what do we need to do? We need to give it to God. We need to give thanks when we give it to God. Thanks for what he is going to do, but you need to do your part as well. And then keep your focus on everything that I said. What's lovely, pure, honorable, true, just. I'm saying them all out of order, but, a good rapport. Putting our focus always on our problems is keeping us stuck in the problem. It's not going to make it go away. Now, I understand sometimes our problems, they're real problems. I had a cancer diagnosis. And no matter how much I prayed, my cancer diagnosis, did it go away? The diagnosis didn't go away. But I was saved. I had to go through a grueling operation that did take my cancer away. Now, if you're struggling with some kind of sickness and you've been praying about it, I'm not saying if you pray, God takes everything away. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But everything that we endure, the one thing he does say, and I'm sorry, I can't remember where it says it, is that anything you experience, anything that you endure in life, he uses it for a purpose, okay? Like, things don't happen for no reason. There's a reason for things. There's a reason why you had to get a divorce, or there's a reason why somebody had to die. There's a reason why you became sick, or a reason why, things happen. But we have to trust God in the details. So, how to overcome anxiety quicker? Create the mindset that will help you to overcome it. Because all those short-term things, the breathing, meditation, which can really help you long-term, but you gotta practice meditation. Exercise, things that will help you in the moment, they will help you deal with the anxiety for sure. I love exercise. I always beef up exercise. I love exercise, okay? If I'm feeling anything, sad or whatever, I know if I just get moving and exercise, I'm in my zone, and anxiety is just not on my mind, and any anxious thoughts and any anxious feelings, they just disappear, okay? But what we're looking for is true healing and transformation. And you're going to get that, okay? Not just by, every time I feel anxiety, I got to go do some push-ups or I got to go exercise, okay? What you're trying to do first is get yourself in the position to do the work, because we know how hard this is. I hear this every day. It's too hard, it's too hard, it's too hard. with that kind of mindset, how do you expect to get quick results? Yes, it's hard. It can be hard. What makes it harder is telling yourself how hard it is. That's number one. Number two is not having the correct mindset. It's, not making the decision. I know it's summer, okay? It's summer, so this is a difficult time of the year because, for those of you who have young kids, the kids are home. And you have to keep them entertained, right? I get it. And maybe you work full time, and even if you have older kids, you try to fill your time with other things, or we always make excuses. We have to stop making those excuses, because I'm going to reiterate this. If you don't start taking care of yourself, okay? You don't start taking care of your wellness, you will be forced to start taking care of your illness. Don't want that for you. Make the decision to spend time every day doing something different. Love yourself enough to do it. And remember, motivation, I know you're tired. I know it, but motivation isn't going to come sitting in bed, laying on the couch. It's in the doing. You gotta be a doer. You gotta get out of that bed. You just gotta make yourself do it. Motivation comes in the doing. But I promise you, the more you do, the more motivated you will be. And have patience with yourself and the results. Give yourself the grace. And be diligent in what you do. Set goals and be consistent with what you do with them. Consistency is key. You can't just do things here and there and when you feel like it. Remember, you're trying to change patterns in your brain. All right? We form patterns in our brain on how we are responding in life. And we get stuck in these patterns. And to change the patterns, your mind needs to see that you're doing something different, but consistently. If you do something once a month, it's not really going to recognize that you're changing anything. We're forming new habits and behaviors, ladies. And the only way to do that is to be consistent. So understand that anxiety cycle. Create the mindset that will get you long-term results. And then every day, what are you focused on? What are you focused on? If you're focused on how lousy you feel, you're so focused on that, start focusing on truth. If you're praying, believe in what you pray for. Because if you don't, that's another thing that's going to keep you stuck. Ladies, are there any questions? Is there anything that I said that you need clarity? Or let me refresh the page and let me see if there's anything. Hold on. Oh no. Okay, no, there you are. Okay, hold on. I keep focusing on fear of getting sick and death. Yep. Yeah, of course. Because you believe the thoughts, that the feelings that you feel, they don't go away. But the thing is, I mean, it's going to happen someday, right? And getting sick is not a death sentence. I mean, we've all gotten sick and we recovered. Maybe find passages in the Bible that talk about sickness and the Lord's promises about healing, sickness and healing. Because worrying and staying in anxiety isn't going to make you healthier. You know, the more you stay in this, the more damage you're doing. So, and Amanda saying that it's hard is probably making it harder for you to do the work. Yeah, it's hard. But ladies, stop focusing on how hard it is and just do it. Is playing the slot machine okay? Because it gives me a little peace of mind. Well, I don't know if that's going to give you long term, but Shanika, if that's something that, I mean, I get it because you're sitting there and you're focused, right? You're focused on what you're doing. So you're not paying attention to your thoughts. You're not paying attention to how you feel. But what does that tell you? It just proves to you that focus matters, right? Because it's when we stop distracting ourselves. And that's what slot machines are. They're probably distracting you from how you feel and what you're thinking. But when you stop playing, Shanika, what happens? I'm talking about long term here. I mean, you can play the slot machines, but it's not going to take away your anxiety on the long term. Only 45 and watched my father suffer from cancer. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I know. It's hard. I get it. And I said it's hard, right? I understand, Amanda, because I just lost two of my parents. They both of them literally dropped dead in their house from heart disease. So it's sometimes my mind wants to focus on where my heart is. You know, am I healthy? Is that gonna happen to me? Right? So, but I'm not them. And I take care of myself totally different than they did. I go to the doctor, I take care of myself, I can only do what I do. And worrying about my health is not going to give me better health. So, Amanda, all I got to say is what we actually, not just to Amanda, but ladies, what we need to do is we need to separate ourselves, detach ourselves from other people's situations. Because what we tend to do is we tend to hear what other people went through. And we think, is that going to happen to me? What if that happens to me? And we start worrying about it. And we make it our problem. It doesn't have to be your problem unless you really want it to be. And you can say, well, what about hereditary? Well, yeah, okay, there's an hereditary factor. Yes, we do. You know, we do get things from our parents. But ladies, just because my parents had heart issues doesn't mean I have to. Okay? Just because my mom had diabetes doesn't mean I will. All right? You know, just because, my father had high blood pressure near the end, which was a sign that he was about to have a major heart attack, doesn't mean that's what's going to happen to me. We got to stop, the what if this happens to me, what if, and just take action to ensure that it doesn't. So, yes, you're so on point. Like, you can read my mind. Well, I wish I could read people's minds sometimes, but no, I'm not reading your mind, Amanda. It's just that I lived anxiety for many years. I lived panic attacks for many years. Depression, insomnia for many years. I just know this. So I sound like you because I was you. You know, that's why you're all here, because you're learning from somebody who has absolutely overcome. Okay? I'm not somebody who deals with anxiety anymore. I don't have anxiety on a regular basis. I always compare myself to other people's issues. Yes. And that's a problem. Is it possible to get rid of it, Nina? You mean rid of anxiety for good forever? I mean, that's up to you. Is it possible? You know, I mean, I've heard people say that they don't understand, they've never felt anxiety. Maybe they didn't realize they were anxious. I don't know. But see, you have to understand there's a difference between having feelings of anxiety and having an anxiety disorder. An anxiety disorder means that anxiety has taken over your life. Now, there are plenty of people who have had anxiety feelings, anxiety thoughts, okay? But anxiety didn't take over their lives. Does that make sense? So when I say overcome anxiety, I am specifically not promising you that you'll never feel it again. Because if there's anybody out there saying, come work with me and you'll never ever have anxiety again, go the opposite way, please. Don't waste your money. Because anxiety is an emotion. And anxiety can be a good thing. Why? Because anxiety can be a warning signal. When you start feeling anxiety, it means something's wrong. And you have to do a little investigating. What's wrong? Like, why am I feeling this way? So when you feel those anxiety feelings, instead of going, uh-oh, what's this, what's that, ba-ba-ba-ba, why am I feeling this way? What is it trying to tell me? What really is the problem? The anxiety is not the problem, ladies. It's how you're reacting to the problem. So when you start facing the real issues, facing the reality, that's when you start getting your life back. But see, right now you're so focused on the anxiety, it's hard to get there because you don't have the mindset yet. So what I suggest is creating that mindset and getting to really understand anxiety, the anxiety cycle. Also, you know, I mean, this is science, but this is also, I guess, religion. I don't want to say religion. It's believing in something bigger than yourself. Because I know the science part of it, but I also know that it wasn't just science that got me to where I was. I know believing in the higher power, telling myself Philippians 4, like, not just once a day, like I will go through the day. I mean, what you practice is what you get. And it says, rejoice always in the Lord, right? So I take time to pause and rejoice, no matter what's going on, no matter what issue I have. And I've been having some pretty big issues lately. So ladies, if you're having a hard time creating a mindset that overcomes anxiety, I have 3 programs. 2 of them you work with me personally. One of them is a program where I will send you videos where I give you step by step how to create this mindset, how to understand and get through the anxiety cycle, and to break free from it. And also how to form a better relationship with God, to put your trust in God. Because anxiety It's a lack of trust. So when you feel anxious, pray more. If there's no questions, if you have any questions, put them and I'll answer questions. Let's see. I haven't driven a car in 6 years because I'm afraid of panicking because I haven't done it because of my anxiety. Yeah, I mean, when you have anxiety, specifically panic attacks, I mean, especially if you had them in the car, you become afraid of that. What if it happens again? What if I feel these feelings again? So it's basically knowing and understanding what anxiety is, why you're experiencing it, and learning to understand that you do have control. You have control of what goes in your mind and how you feel and what you ultimately experience, and gaining back that control. And that's what I help you with in all my programs. Thanks for your time, much appreciated. You're welcome, Amanda. So if there's no questions, ladies, if there's no questions, I think we're done here for the day. For today. And if you are watching the replay, or if any of you ladies come up with questions later, just put them in the comments, or you can message me anytime. All right, about anything that I said. And otherwise, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. And I will see you next time. All right, ladies, be well, take care. And if you need that extra support and accountability, please, please get in touch with me. All right, you're very welcome. Take care. All right, bye, ladies.